Acolyte is our entry-level mountain bike group, and it might be the most underrated product that we make. That might be a little bit our fault. Most of the marketing materials that we've created for the group have focused on how well it does for kids or how well it does for entry-level mountain bikers, and that doesn't really tell the whole story of what makes it unique. Conventional marketing wisdom says that you're not supposed to call your own products cheap. You're supposed to say that they're a good value and then highlight all the positive attributes that make them unique. The fact is, though, Acolyte is just cheaper than other comparable drivetrains. There's no other good way to say it. I'll give you an example. Our Advent X group is really widely considered to be one of the best values in the mountain bike industry. Acolyte costs about half as much. In the US, you can buy an Acolyte shifter, rear derailleur, and cassette for 85 bucks all together. That's like 1.5 trips to Taco Bell in this economy. So the price is good, the performance is great, that adds up to a pretty incredible value. To kind of show you what it looks like in the real world, we installed Acolyte on 2 bikes where you wouldn't necessarily think a budget drivetrain would be appropriate. We put it on a Yeti Arc carbon hardtail, and a Larry versus Harry EBullitt electric cargo bike. Let's go out in the real world and see how Acolyte handles the job. Acolyte is pretty amazing. It's durable, trail-worthy, and it's really cheap to replace. It's probably the best example of what microSHIFT is trying to do in the bike industry right now. Yeah, Advent and Advent X are nicer, and they're still an incredible value, but Acolyte is the next level. Products in this price range aren't designed for off-road riding. They're not designed for e-biking, but Acolyte is. That opens the door for more riders to have more fun on their bikes, and that's what microSHIFT is all about. Acolyte isn't the best product ever made, but for the money, I don't think there's anything better. The first thing that you notice about Acolyte on the trail is it looks pretty decent. Yeah, it's not carbon, it's not wireless, but the rear derailleur is like 37 bucks, and it doesn't really do anything to detract from the look of the rest of the bike. The centerpiece of this bike is obviously the frame. The fork is nice too, wheels are nice, but the rear derailleur fits in pretty well. Now that's aesthetics. The next question is, how does it do on the trail? Let's go find out. Okay, this trail isn't exactly Mont St. Anne, but it's a decent enough spot to see Acolyte do everything that it needs to do to succeed on a mountain bike. It keeps the chain secure, it changes gears when you ask it to, and it gives you enough gear range for steep climbing. The drivetrain's not holding anything back. In this case, it's more the skill of the rider. So that's mountain bikes. Let's look at our second use case, electric bicycles, or e-bikes as the hipsters are calling them. One-by drivetrains are awesome for e-bikes. You don't need quite as much range on an e-bike because the motor's helping you out. And you don't really want a front derailleur because they add complexity to the system, and motors don't really play well with front derailleurs anyway. Why not have the simplest shifting system possible and just focus on enjoying the ride? Acolyte delivers all that one-by goodness in an incredibly affordable package. And by affordable, I mean cheap. It's still made well. It has more metal content than any other derailleur in its price range, and it's basically built like a brick Buick. We just don't charge that much for it. So Acolyte is pretty much perfect for e-bikes. It has a wide 1246 tooth range, so if you're hauling cargo, it'll help get you up the hills. It has a spring lock chain retention system so that if you hit a pothole going like 20 miles an hour, the chain's not gonna bounce around too much. 8 speeds aren't really a disadvantage on an e-bike because you have a motor, and so you don't need to monitor your cadence quite as much. It's really a great all-around package. This Larry versus Harry EBullitt that I'm riding right now shipped with an XT-Di2 drivetrain. Now I'm riding it with an Acolyte group. I'm not experiencing any loss in functionality. I have the same range, and I press the button and the gears shift. XT-Di2 is expensive. Acolyte is cheap. All right, so what did we learn? A lot of the bike industry thinks that the most expensive products are the best products. If the price tag is higher, the product must be nicer. Kind of makes sense. With Acolyte, we're going in pretty much exactly the opposite direction. We're asking the question, how nice can we make a product that's also just absurdly inexpensive? If you're looking for a status symbol, it's probably not the right group for you. But if you're looking for something that you can ride, and ride really hard, it might be a good choice. And you can use all that extra money you saved to buy a real status symbol, like a cool hat. Okay, thanks for watching. Check out our other videos if you have a second, and we'll see you next time.